Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about cluster computing. So in previous video, what we have seen the introduction to parallel processing. We have learned about parallel processing. We have learned the different types of parallel processing. We have seen the examples of parallel processing, and cluster computing is one of the type of parallel processing. So today our focus will be on cluster computing. So let us start. So what is mean by a cluster? A cluster is nothing but we can say that it is nothing but a group of similar things. What is mean by group of similar things? We can take an example of an Nasik MIDC. So we all know that in Nashik MIDC or in Ambad area, we are having all the industries, and this industry is nothing but we can call it as a cluster of industries where different industries are there and which are working together uh, and doing some kind of a production or anything. So that kind of a concept is called as a cluster. So in computer also, clustering is nothing but a use of multiple computers or different devices along with the connections which are appearing to the user as a singly highly available system. Means here there will be a group of computers, there will be a group of storage devices, networks, but to the user, to the end user, it will appear as a single system. And why it is required is because of this there is a better system performance is provided, better reliability is provided, and because of that cluster computing is generally used. So you are able to see the definition on the screen. So a cluster is a type of a parallel or distributed processing system which consists of collection of interconnected standalone computers which are working together as a single integrated computing resource. So yes, so you can call a cluster as a parallel or distributed processing system. There is a collection of different computers, and all those are working together to achieve a common goal. So how the cluster looks like, so you are able to see on the screen. So it looks like this. Here you are able to see that there are a lot of CPUs which are there in the diagram. All these CPUs are connected to each other by using the LAN, and all these will be working together to achieve a certain kind of a goal. Yes, but to the end user it will look like that there is a single system, but this is nothing but a cluster where many and many systems are connected together. So how this cluster layout is there? So you are able to see that there will be a data which is coming from the user. So user will be inputting the data. It will be going to the root node. So though there are hundreds of computers which can be connected in a cluster, there should be one system which should be acting as a root node. So all this data will go to the root node. Then root node will transfer all those data to the other slave computers. These slave computers will work on different parts of the problem, and then they will return the result back to the root node, and root node will then again take all the all the processing, and finally it will submit the end result to the user. So like this, the cluster is working. So there is an example. So here also what is shown is we are submitting some kind of a job to the computer. Uh, then all these CPUs will be working together, and then that cluster will be giving the end result to the client again. So how we are doing the classification of cluster computers? So there are different classes of cluster computer also. Let us see one by one. So first is so first one is based on application target. So those are called as a high availability clusters, HA clusters. So these computers will be used for mission critical applications. So those applications which are having the most importance, those will be coming in this kind of clusters, and those will be executed first. So that is why it is called as a high availability cluster. Then the second type of classification in clusters is based on ownership, that who is owning that particular cluster. So again, there are two types of clusters under that: dedicated clusters and non-dedicated clusters. So either you are dedicating the clusters to a particular group of companies, or there can be non-dedicated clusters also. So based on that, there is this second type of a classification. Then there is a cluster classification 3. Now this type of a classification is based on node architecture. Means what is the architecture of your cluster? Based on that, there is a classification. So there is a cluster of PCs. It is nothing but cluster of personal computers, you can say. That is generally called as COPS. And there can be a cluster of workstations. So all the workstations are working together, and those are generally called as cows. So that is one kind of a classification. Then there is a cluster classification 4. This type of a classification is based on OS type. So based on the operating system type, this classification of clusters is done. So you can have all the computers which are having Linux. So that will be called as a Linux clusters. So we are actually having that kind of clusters. It is called as a Beowulf clusters. Then there is a Solaris clusters, where you are having the operating system as Solaris, NT clusters, AIX, and like this. Based on the operating system, you can connect all the computers, and those will be called as Linux clusters or Solaris or Windows clusters, like this. Then there is a fifth type of a classification of clusters. So this type of classification is based on node components, architecture, and configuration. So here we are considering everything: the processor, the PC, what kind of OS you are having. So if this kind of computers are connected together, then again there are two types. There are homogeneous clusters or heterogeneous. Homogeneous means which are having all the same configuration or all the same things, like the second computer. And heterogeneous means they are having different configurations. So generally, what are the different types of cluster computers? So there are, of course, whatever we said, workload consolidation or common management domain clusters. Then we said that there is a high availability or failover clusters, we can call them, which are having mission critical applications. Then there are load balancing clusters. Load balancing means we'll try to balance the load on the computers. Then there is a parallel and distributed processing clusters. So let us see one by one. So first one was workload consolidation, or called as common management domain clusters. So here what we are trying to do is, we are trying to simply arrange all the heterogeneous server tasks, but all are running on a single physical system. So all these tasks will be running on a single system. Yes. And why it is so? So that automatically our task is performed very in a simple way and in a convenient way, and there will be a single point of control. So that is called as a workload consolidation or common management domain cluster. The second is the common management. Again, same example is there. Common management domain. Here you are able to see that there are load balancers in this common management domain. There is a web application server. There are two web application servers, and there is a one database server. And by using the single point of control, we are trying to manage the domain. Yes. So you can use, for all these different things, you can use the different computers, but there will be a single point of control. Then there is a high availability or failover clusters. Now these clusters are designed to provide uninterrupted availability of data and services. The services restoring, improving the performance. Single instance of an application is running. So high availability means mission critical applications are generally on this. So here you are able to see that there are various clients which are connected to these servers. These servers are then having all the important things which are required for the application to run. And you are also having a disk array. Disk array means if one of the server is failing, then we should be able to get the data again. So that is why these are called as a high availability clusters or failover clusters. Means your system should not fail, though if any of the server is failing, you should be able to back up the data or provide the data. So like this particular cluster works. So generally where these are being used, so mission critical applications or databases, or you are using maybe for sending the files, printing, or some web application servers. So for all these you are using this kind of a clusters. Generally we can take examples of Google or Facebook. So they are having these kind of a high availability clusters because these applications are continuously running. If any of the server fails, there should be another server which should take all the responsibility. Then there is a load balancing. So as the name suggests, so what here we are going to try is balance the loads between the computer. So this type of cluster distributes the incoming requests for resources or content among multiple nodes running the same programs or having the same contents. So every node in the cluster is able to handle the request for the same content or application. So what we are trying to do over here is we are trying to balance the load. So whatever requests are coming will be first given to this load balancer, as you are able to see in the diagram. And this load balancer will be giving the data to the different computers, so that one computer is not loaded or it is not overloaded, and the functioning will continue. So again, we can take examples of NPTEL or government sites. So generally when we are going for uh, uh, doing the registration for a particular form or something like that, or we are opening the government website, so generally you are able to see that they sometimes tell us to select the server, and there are different servers listed: server 1, server 2, server 3, server 4, and you have to select one server. So why it is done like that? So that the balance on the servers will be equal. So like this, there are load balancing clusters also. So this is again an example of that. Here again, different clients are shown. All these clients are connected to the internet, and through internet it is coming to the active load balancer. And load balancer is here distributing the request to different servers. So we are having 4 servers in the diagram. So whatever requests are coming, some of them will be going to server 1, some of them will be going to server 2, server 3, and server 4, and so on. And then next type is parallel clusters. So parallel cluster is nothing but we know the concept of parallel processing now. So we know that different tasks we are able to perform at the same time in parallel processing. So here also parallel cluster is nothing but parallel processing was performed by multiple processors in specially designed parallel computer. So generally we know that in parallel processing we are having multiple CPUs, or we can say multiple processors. And here parallel clusters are the system in which multiple processors share a single memory and bus interface within a single computer. So same thing is there. So here we are using the 2 methods in clustering or parallel clusters: the hierarchical method and partition method. So what is hierarchical method? So smaller clusters into larger ones. So automatically hierarchy means we are able to imagine that there is a tree kind of a structure, and these smaller clusters will be reporting to the larger ones. Then splitting of the larger clusters will be there into smaller. The end result of the algorithm is a tree of clusters called a dendrogram. So whatever I just said, so it is kind of a tree-like structure where there will be a bigger uh, a larger cluster, that larger cluster will be divided into smaller clusters. Then there is a second type of method which is used for parallel clusters is partition method. So this method attempts to directly decompose the data set into a set of disjoint clusters. The criteria or function that the clustering algorithm tries to minimize may emphasize the local structure of the data by assigning clusters. So here we are trying to disjoint the clusters based on data set. So whatever data set you are using, based on that, there will be a partitioning of clusters. So here is the design of a cluster server. So you are able to see that there is a cluster service, resources, online and group. So you are able to see that there are various clients which are there. Then here there is a node A and node B, and there is a shared memory which is there between node A and B, and this one we can call it as a cluster. So cluster is nothing but in computers it is nothing but a group of computers which are working to achieve a common goal, or which are working to perform different tasks at the same time. The cluster services. So what are kind of a cluster services are there? So you are having database manager, the event processor, communication manager, resource failover manager, global update manager. So all these services are falling under clusters. So where actually cluster computing is used, so it can be used everywhere in scientific computing, in making the movies, in commercial servers also, so web servers, database servers. So of course we know that it will not be a single computer. There should be a group of computers which are working together to serve the needs. So same thing is we can apply for, again we can take an example of a Google or Facebook servers. So there is not only a single computer, it is nothing but a group of computers, and that group of computers is called as clusters. What are the issues? So while working with cluster computing, what are the issues we need to consider? Are nothing but all these issues are there. So networking is an issue, because yes, all the computers need to be connected, so there should not be any problems with the networking. So if you are connecting all the computers through a LAN, so proper networking should be there. Proper software should be there, cluster softwares, which will pass the data between all the computers. Proper programming should be done. Timing should be is very essential, and speed of that processors is very important. What are the advantages? Advantages are nothing but size scalability. Size scalability is nothing but we can add more and more computers to the clusters. Availability. Availability means your data is always available, because if there are hundreds of computers which are connected in a cluster, and if one of the system fails, so still there is no problem, because all the other 99 computers are working. Open, yes, open it is. Cluster computing is having an open way of connection and performance. High processing capacity. Of course, many computers are connected together, so automatically the processing power is high. Easy to deploy. Yes, it is easy to do the cluster computing, because we need to have a group of computers which are connected together, and the user is not able to see actually whether there is a cluster or group of computers. He thinks that there is a single computer who is giving me all the results. So there is a single system image. Like, we don't know anything about how many servers or how many clusters are there of Google or Facebook. Yes. So we don't know how many computers they have connected together. We just think that there is one server of Facebook or Google, and it is giving us all the results. So that are the advantages of cluster computing. Disadvantages, of course, there are disadvantages. Every coin has two faces, so there are disadvantages. What are the disadvantages in cluster computing? So cost is always an issue, because as you are connecting group of computers, you have to pay for the computers, you have to do proper networking softwares, and so of course the cost is always high, hard to manage. Yes, hard to manage because networking should be proper, the use of software should be proper, so sometimes they can fail. Power consumption is very much, why power consumption is very much, because there are lots of computers connected, so of course power consumption is there. And deadlock, yes, there can be a deadlock because there are group of computers which are connected together. If one computer is working on one task, the second computer is working on second task, and both the computers require the same resource, then there can be a deadlock situation. So yes, there are disadvantages in cluster computing, so we have to consider that. So hopefully you have understood the concept of uh, cluster computing and what is mean by cluster. So thank you for watching.